The following is the final entry from Ash Sterling's journal. The last of his family line, and leader of a crew of 30 that died in a mine collapse resulting in the permanent closing of the mine. Recorded by his maid, who believed him insane. In the first week of 8th grade, my teacher asked my class to research our nationalities. Ronaldo, a seat to my left, said that he could track his lineage 100 years back to his ancestors sailing across the Atlantic from Spain. John, to my right, was half German, and being barely 20 years after the end of World War II, his lineage stopped suspiciously short on his father's side. Tim was English, Mary French, Chang Chinese. Then, after calling upon the rest of the class, Miss Francisco peered above the lip of her clipboard at me with a frown. "Bring your project forward, it's time for you to present." Even after 1 week of school, Miss Francisco and I had already found several differences between us. Undoubtedly, she had heard of me from my teachers reaching back until kindergarten. I knew she had waited to call upon me last after seeing my project. A poster board blank save for 4 black and white photographs superglued onto a bed of dirt. "This is my father," I said, pointing at the bottommost picture, which was in color, Aiden from the mine. "And this is my father," I pointed at the black and white photograph of a man with scraggly beard reaching down to his waist, Vulcan from the mine. "And this is my father, Fino from the mine." I gestured at a still photo, slightly out of focus, of my great-grandfather leaning on his pickaxe. "And this is my father, Seraph from the mine," I finished, pointing at a hand-drawn portrait of the earliest ancestor I could find. Despite the years, the age gap, and the errors of the artist's hand, visitors at my house often remarked on the likeness between myself and him. Perhaps it was the angle of the nose, the set of the jaw, or his narrow face, but I thought it was his eyes, searching, always searching, from its place above the mantelpiece, though his body was long buried in our backyard. "And I am Ash Sterling from the mine." "No, Ash," said Miss Francisco, her voice taking a tone of lecturing to one who was slower than the rest of the group. "What nationality are you? What country is your family from?" Miss Francisco had moved here the year prior, and she was unfamiliar with the culture of our town. My family was known as one of the mud walkers, with a line that stretched back to the opening of the mine. Some people even joked behind our backs, saying that us mudwalkers were so dirty that we crawled out of the mine itself. But we were proud of our heritage. "Here," I replied. "We've been here since the mine began, and no one can remember further." "Well, it's not like you just popped out here," said John, the German, giggling from his front row. "Everyone comes from somewhere." "Well, we've been here since the beginning of this town, and everyone does come from somewhere, don't they? John, even the Nazis." My foot was in the principal's office before his giggles subsided, and I took the chair I had claimed as my own by the door. I had been there so often that the cushion had begun to conform to the contours of my ass, and my father no longer put up a show to the principal that he cared when he picked me up. "You done did right, Ash," my father said, a cigarette smoldering out of the left side of his mouth. "The mine gave us everything we got, and will continue giving. Like Father Dunn said, you just gotta dig deeper. We done been here longer than anyone. This is our town. It doesn't belong to these outsiders." He flicked a cigarette, and an ember fell on his exposed arm, but his face remained still. A little ember never made us Sterlings flinch. That was 25 years ago. And today my father coughed the last of the dirt from his lungs before I immersed him 6 feet under in it. And on his deathbed, he asked me to look behind the portrait of Seraph on the mantel, where I found a small, leather-bound notebook. Like all things in our house, dirt fell from the pages as I brought it to his bed. "Ash, don't never forget who you are. The mine is our birthright. This is the journal of the grandfather of my father, Seraph. Many said he went insane in his age, but I think he saw some truth. Keep it. It belongs to you now." I took the journal from my father, and he fell away from this world, a cigarette burning to a stub still on his lips. When I tried to lift him from the bed, I knocked over an ashtray on his dresser, and it scattered over his sheets and lifeless form. Despite hours of scrubbing, I could never remove the stains that outlined where his body had rested upon the sheets. The holes remained there. The live embers had burned into the cloth. Sometimes when I walk past his room deep in the night, I can still smell a whiff of smoke from inside. I had worked the mine since I was 17, and by 20, I was known as one of the best men who had ever set foot in the tunnels. And when my father passed, I took his position as head of our 40-member team, known for exploring deeper than others in search of fresh silver veins. Each night, I built a fire in my fireplace, stared at Seraph's picture with the same searching eyes that would stare back and read in his notebook. Oh, Seraph's words, often wound in circles that could well have contributed to why he was even mad, but I was determined and picked out the passages that seemed to bear the most importance. From entry 1, 30 of us escaped from that wretched place, and Earth had closed behind us. We escaped like none ever had, but left behind treasure, a treasure too heavy to carry. Here we shall build our town. From 24, the brightest gem and found the deepest. This we knew, this we have known, and have seen with our own eyes. And we shall take them. From entry 39, silver from the mine. Connect to the silver in us. Our pure belongs to us. From entry 47, the tunnels collapsed overnight with my hope. They sealed us off. The last entry. We have failed. Soon age will take me. Alas, I am reclaimed. And as the years passed, I drove my team deeper into the mine. I had dreams that filled my mind. At night, dreams of silver below, stretching farther than I could ever reach, to the core of the earth that burned hotter than I could ever stand. I've explored all the deepest regions of the mine, but could never find new silver. All the regions, but one. Today, we investigate the softer tunnels, I said, staring out at my team. The majority of the members had families stretching back as long as mine, though there was a clique of outsiders who had only been on that team for a generation, maybe two. At my statement, one of them spoke up, his voice crumbling like fresh dirt. The soft tunnels? That's the ones prone to collapsing without enough stone to hold them steady. Those are the ones. The last time they were touched was 100 years ago at the opening of the mine. Technology has advanced since then. We can reach what our fathers could not. It's too dangerous, even now, he said, and the other outsiders murmured around him in agreement. We press on, whether you come or not. 5 of the outsiders left our team that day, and our numbers dropped to 35. We began carving into the soft tunnels. Progress was fast, as the rock here was already broken apart from tunnels that had fallen years before, and as we dug deeper, we found bones on the rock. Bones that looked far too much like my own, and were accompanied by mining helmets and tools. On the hard walls, I could see where pickaxes had once bored into the stone, until even those fell away, and the hard rock returned. But then, 5 weeks into digging, we broke into soft rock again. On these walls, I could see the marks of digging utensils, unlike I've ever seen. They looked like 5-pronged rakes, and it took me a day to realize they matched the contours of my own fingernails, and appeared as if they dug up, and not down. Then we found more bones, though these were accompanied by no mining gear. Their ends were scorched, burned into ash that flaked away as we removed them. Dissent grew among the outsiders, and 2 more quit. I don't like it, said one of the remaining 3. How'd these bones get here? Ain't nobody been this deep. Maybe fell through into an earthquake. I don't know, said the other, his headlamp flickering. Maybe they ain't human. Maybe something else lives down here. Some other creature. The third whispered, in a voice that echoed down the cave walls and caused even my best men to stir in their boots. And maybe we should stop digging. Maybe we weren't meant to dig this far. And then the writing on the walls began. No, I locked the gates each night. I knew one of the outsiders snuck down into the tunnels after dark to try to scare us away. The first appeared written in charcoal at the most recently unearthed portion of tunnel. Return to the ground, for out of it you were taken. For you are dust, and to dust you shall return. And the first of the 3 outsiders quit, cursing his way up the tunnels and back to daylight. We were 32. Another week passed, and I found myself sweating so much from the heat that puddles formed in my boots. Then the second message appeared, chiseled into the wall. Punishment to the children of the sin of the parents to the 3rd and 4th generation. It's Exodus, breathed the second of the outsiders, before he too departed. We were 31. Then the last message appeared in silver writing. Greed brought you down here, and greed will bring you back. The last outsider left, and we were 30. But even as the air grew thinner, and the tunnels warmer, and the earth looser, I commanded my men to dig deeper. Today I struck iron, and we dug about it, revealing an archway embedded into the rock. There was no writing on it. I can't be certain it was human-made, but I have never seen something so well-formed in nature. Tomorrow, we mine through the archway, and we find silver. I feel it in my bones.